The password was her name. Chapter 1. We were almost perfect. I'm not the kind of person who checks phones, snooks around, or memorizes login screens. I really believed I was in a secure relationship. For almost 4 years, Ryan was my person. The one I saw in my future. The one I trusted enough to move in with, build a life with, plan for, maybe someday forever with. I remember the first time we met. Cliché, I know, but it really was like something out of a dumb Netflix rom-com. We were both in college. I was on my way to a psych lecture, rushing, hair wet, coffee in one hand, notebook in the other, when I literally bumped into him outside the student center. I dropped everything. He picked up my stuff, smiled, and said, "You look like the start of a very productive breakdown." I laughed, even though I was super embarrassed. That was Ryan. Charming, quick, a little chaotic. The kind of guy who could talk his way out of a ticket and into your heart all in the same breath. We started talking, then texting, then staying up late on benches outside the dorms, then sharing playlists, favorite books, trauma stories. The connection was instant and terrifying, but in the best way. He wasn't perfect, of course. He hated confrontation. He always forgot to wash his dishes. He snored like an old man. But he made me laugh like no one else. He asked about my family. He brought me cold brew when I had to study. He held me when I cried about things I hadn't told anyone before. It felt real, safe, like home. We moved in together after graduation. Small apartment, 1 bedroom, paper-thin walls, ugly beige carpet. But it was ours. We argued, of course, about stupid things. He liked to blast music while he cleaned. I needed silence to concentrate. He'd forget to pay the electric bill on time. I'd freak out. He hated making the bed. I insisted on it. But even our fights felt okay, like we'd be fine after. And we always were. For a long time, I didn't question anything. He was attentive, sweet, funny, supportive. We were that couple, the kind everyone assumes has it all figured out. I thought we did. I'd heard about his ex Emily early on. Not from him, from his best friend actually. It came up during a game night with friends. Someone asked if I was cooler than Emily, and I laughed, confused. I'd never heard that name before. Ryan got kind of awkward, said she was someone from a long time ago, and it wasn't serious. Later that night, I asked about it again, just casually. He told me they dated for a year, she cheated, he moved on, end of story. He didn't sound angry or bitter, just detached, like it had no emotional weight anymore. Like she was just a lesson learned. So I didn't push. Why would I? We kept growing together. New jobs, new routines, inside jokes, favorite takeout spots. Every part of life was built around us. He called me his calm. He'd say, "You're the reason I even believe in second chances." Sometimes I felt overwhelmed by how lucky I was. I'd see stories online of people getting cheated on, lied to, ghosted, gaslit. And I'd think, God, I'm glad that's not me. I thought I knew him. I thought I knew everything that mattered. Then came the password. And suddenly it was like our entire relationship cracked open, and I could finally see what was hiding inside. But I'll get to that. Right now, I just want to hold on a little longer to the version of us that I miss. To the mornings when he'd roll over and whisper, "Stay 5 more minutes." To the way he'd text me dumb memes during meetings just to make me laugh. To the night he told me, "You're it for me. You're the one." And maybe that's the worst part of all of this. He made me believe him.
Chapter 2. The things you brush off. The thing about drifting away from someone, it doesn't happen like in the movies. There's no dramatic slam of a door, no loud argument where someone yells, "I don't love you anymore." No, it's quieter than that. Like a faucet that drips slowly until the ceiling caves in. And when I look back, I realize how many little things I ignored. Because when you love someone, you're so desperate to protect the story you've built, you'll rewrite anything just to keep it intact. It started with his phone. He used to leave it around all the time, on the bed, the couch, kitchen counter. Then one day, I noticed he started keeping it in his pocket, even when he was just walking around the apartment, even in the bathroom. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Then I noticed he'd tilt his screen away from me when he texted. When I'd casually sit beside him, he'd lock it. Nothing huge, nothing obvious, just enough to make me feel excluded. But I brushed it off. Then there was his mood. Ryan used to be open, not just with me, but with the world. He'd talk about his work stress, his family, dumb stuff that annoyed him. He was animated, expressive, alive. But lately, he'd come home drained, quiet, detached. When I asked how his day was, I'd get, "Fine." When I'd ask if something was wrong, "Just tired." And it wasn't that I needed him to be on all the time. I get it, we all go through phases. But this felt different, like he was somewhere else, even when he was sitting right in front of me. I started overcompensating. I cooked more. I planned date nights. I got new lingerie. I told myself every couple goes through a lump. This is just our low point before we rise again. And when he didn't respond the way I hoped, I told myself I was being too sensitive, that it was my fault for needing too much, that he was just stressed, overworked, tired, distracted. I made excuses for him he never asked for. Then came her name. Not in his mouth, but in his sleep. One night, maybe 2 months before everything, he mumbled something. We were lying in bed. He was half asleep. I was scrolling on my phone, and I heard it clear as day. M. Not Emily, not fully, just a broken syllable. Soft, like a memory. He didn't say my name like that. I stared at the ceiling for hours that night. I didn't ask him about it. What would I even say? "Hey, you mumbled your ex's name in your sleep. Should I be concerned?" It felt insane to bring it up. So I didn't. One night, we were watching a show. Some scene came on, a couple breaking up. The woman asks the guy, "Did you ever love her more than me?" And Ryan stiffened. Not dramatically, not enough that anyone else would have noticed, but I did. I asked, trying to keep it light, "You okay?" He shrugged. "That scene was a little too real," he said, trying to laugh. Then he got up to get a drink. Too real for what? He never explained. I never asked. I just let it go, like everything else. Sometimes, I think I didn't want the truth. Not really. Because deep down, I already knew. I could feel it in the way his eyes stopped holding mine for too long. In the way he'd touch me, but not feel me. In the weird ache I got in my stomach every time I saw him smile at his phone. And still, I told myself, he chose me. He lives with me. We have a life. But love is not just who someone chooses, it's who they return to when no one's watching. There was one night I remember vividly. I had cooked his favorite, lemon chicken, garlic rice, roasted carrots. I even opened a bottle of wine. Candles, music, the works. He came home, said thanks, ate quickly, then went straight to the bedroom with his laptop. Didn't even notice I'd done my hair differently. I sat at that table, staring at his half-empty plate, and I thought, he's somewhere else, and I don't know where. Not physically, emotionally. It felt like loving a ghost, like trying to hug steam. People always talk about cheating as a physical thing, but no one tells you how much more it hurts when it's emotional. When their heart starts slipping away inch by inch, and you're the last to notice. Or maybe not the last. Maybe just the last to admit it.
Chapter 3. The Password. It happened on a Tuesday night, which somehow makes it worse. Not a dramatic Friday, not a sentimental Sunday, just a regular, tired, ordinary Tuesday. He was in the shower. I was trying to finish some work on my laptop, but it froze. Dead. Gone. Wouldn't turn on. So I grabbed his. No hesitation. We used each other's stuff all the time. I opened it. The login screen popped up. Password required. And I swear to God, I didn't mean to think anything of it. I typed his birthday. Wrong. I tried mine. Wrong again. A little frown, a little tightness in my chest. Still, nothing suspicious. I was sure I just didn't remember what he used. Then I typed something. I don't know why. I really don't. But my fingers typed her name. Emily. Just that. All lowercase. The screen unlocked. I froze. Not just physically, mentally, spiritually. Everything in me stopped. It took a second for me to register what had happened. Then I slowly backed away from the laptop like it was a bomb, like if I touched it again, something inside me would explode. I stood there, in our living room, in my sweatpants, with the candles still on for dinner, while he hummed in the shower. And I felt like I had just walked into the middle of someone else's life. Why was her name his password? It didn't make sense. It had been years. She cheated on him. He told me he was over it. He told me I was the one. I wanted to believe there was a logical reason. A leftover setting, an old habit, something innocent. But the thing about trust is, once it cracks, everything underneath starts to rot. I didn't open any files. Didn't go looking for dirt. Didn't check his messages. Not yet. I just sat there, staring at the screen, at the photo of us on his wallpaper, the beach trip from last summer. I remember that trip. I was wearing his hoodie. He said he loved me. He kissed my forehead, told me, "You feel like forever." And now I was looking at that same photo, with her name as the password guarding it. I closed the laptop, put it back where I found it, walked into the kitchen, poured a glass of wine, and waited. When he walked out of the shower, he smiled at me, like nothing had happened, like he still deserved the benefit of the doubt. He kissed my shoulder. I didn't kiss him back. I asked quietly, "Hey, what's your laptop password again?" He paused. Just a second. A hesitation I'll never forget. Then he said, I think it's my mom's birthday or something. I can't remember. A lie. Small. Casual. automatic. But not stupid. He saw it on my face. He knew. I didn't argue. I just nodded, sipped my wine, told him I'd use my phone instead. We watched half an episode of something on Netflix before he fell asleep. I lay next to him in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a stranger in my own body, in my own home. The man next to me had said he loved me, and yet his password, the thing you type 100 times a day, the thing that protects your whole digital life, was her name. Not mine. Not ours. Hers. And in that moment, I realized something I'd never let myself say before. I wasn't the only one in this relationship. I just happened to be the only one in the room.
Chapter 4. I needed to know. I told myself I wouldn't look, that I wasn't that girl, that people deserve privacy and that trust can't survive if you cross certain lines. But here's the thing no one tells you. Once the foundation starts to crack, you don't survive if you don't look. So I did. That weekend, he went to his friend's house for some guys' night. Beer, games, nothing dramatic. I waited 30 minutes after he left. Then I opened his laptop, typed her name, watched it open like a door to a house I never lived in. I didn't even know where to start. It was all there, everything. Messages, saved photos, music playlists, notes. Not secret folders, not even hidden, just casually sitting in plain view. Because when you don't think you're going to get caught, you don't bother hiding anything. I opened their chat. It wasn't constant, not every day, but steady, lingering. Some conversations were recent, like a week ago. Some stretched back months, even years. They talked like old friends, but I wasn't stupid. There were too many what ifs, too many remember whens, too many you still make me laugh like nobody else. And one message, I will never forget it, was a photo of a coffee shop napkin. Her handwriting. On it, would we have worked out if I hadn't messed it up? And his reply? Sometimes I still think about that. My breath caught. Like something inside my chest just folded in on itself. I kept reading, slowly, like peeling off a scab you know you're not ready to see under. There were no nude photos, no "I miss your body," no dates or meetups or hotel receipts. But there were emotions, real ones, private ones he used to give to me. He told her about his new job before he told me. He sent her a song once and said, "This made me think of you." He sent her a photo of our dog, and wrote, "Remember how you always wanted one like this?" He even sent her a video of the waves during our beach trip. "This reminded me of that summer we got stuck in that storm." He was with me, but giving pieces of it to her. I think the worst part wasn't the messages themselves. It was that he was warm with her, alive, engaged, vulnerable. The way he used to be with me. And lately with me, he'd barely look up from his screen, barely hold a conversation without drifting. Now I knew why. He hadn't stopped loving me. He just started loving someone else again too. It wasn't about sex. It wasn't about cheating, technically. It was about space, the kind he used to give to me without hesitation, now offered quietly, lovingly, to someone who once broke him. And maybe that's what made it so unforgivable. I stared at that screen until my eyes blurred, closed the laptop, sat on the couch with my arms wrapped around my knees like a child. And I remember thinking, I'm still here, still loyal, still believing in him,
and he's busy reminiscing with the ghost of someone I was told not to worry about. I didn't call him, didn't confront him that night, didn't cry. Not yet. I just sat in the silence and started quietly rewriting the story I'd been telling myself for 4 years.
Chapter 5. The Quiet Confrontation. He came home late that night, smelling like beer and something else I didn't want to think about. I was sitting on the couch, the glow of my laptop screen the only light in the room. He paused in the doorway, saw me, and gave a tired smile. "Hey," he said. "How was your day?" I didn't answer. Instead, I closed the laptop slowly and looked at him. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. He nodded, sat beside me, and waited. I took a deep breath. "Why is your laptop password her name?" My words hung heavy between us. He swallowed. His eyes looked away. I don't know," he admitted quietly. "I guess I never changed it. Did you still think about her?" I asked. He hesitated. Then, in a whisper, "Sometimes. Not like before, but yeah." "And the messages?" I pressed. "The photos, the songs, the memories." His face fell. "It wasn't like I wanted to hurt you, but you did," I said. "Every time you typed her name, every time you sent her a message, every time you held on to a memory instead of making a new one with me." He looked broken. Not the man I fell in love with, but someone I didn't recognize. "I'm sorry," he said. "I really am." The room felt colder. I wanted to scream, cry, beg, but I just sat there, watching him unravel. We didn't yell. We didn't fight. There was no noise, just a quiet dismantling of years. When he got up to leave the room, I whispered, "I don't know if I can trust you again." He paused in the doorway, eyes full of regret. "I wish you could." And then he was gone. That night, I lay awake, heart pounding, because sometimes the loudest heartbreaks are the silent ones.
Chapter 6. Leaving Without a Fight. I woke up the next morning feeling like I was already gone. Not physically, but inside. The weight in my chest was heavier than the suitcase I packed. I didn't yell. I didn't slam doors. I didn't call him names or cry on his shoulder. I moved quietly, like a ghost in the apartment that once was ours. I found his favorite hoodie folded on the chair. I wrapped it around me and sat on the couch, staring at the walls that held our memories. I thought about all the mornings he kissed me awake, all the nights he held my hand when I was scared, all the dreams we whispered about in the dark. I thought about the password, how something so small could hold so much truth, how a name could shatter everything I believed. I grabbed a sticky note and wrote, "The password told me more than you ever did." I left it on the kitchen counter, next to the coffee machine where he always made me a cup. Before I walked out the door, I looked back once, saw the empty apartment, felt the silence, felt the end. I didn't look back again, because sometimes loving yourself means walking away, even when it's the hardest thing you'll ever do.
Chapter 7. Aftermath and Choosing Me. It's been months since I left. Months since I walked away from the apartment, the memories, the man I thought I knew. I won't lie. It still hurts. Some days it feels like a hole in my chest. Other days, it's just a quiet ache. But it's different now. I started therapy. I talk about the pain, about the betrayal, about the loneliness. And slowly, I'm learning to forgive myself for trusting too much, for staying too long, for hoping he'd change. I moved to a new city, new streets, new coffee shops, new favorite bench at the park. I don't check my phone like I used to. I don't replay our conversations in my head. I don't wonder if he remembers me. He still texts sometimes, says he misses me, says he made a mistake, says he wants to talk. I don't reply. Because some doors, once closed, should never be reopened. Yesterday, I saw a couple sitting across from me at the cafe, newly in love, laughing, holding hands. And for the first time in a long time, I smiled. I'm still scared to love again, still afraid to trust, but I'm also hopeful. Because choosing myself was the hardest, but the best choice I've ever made. And maybe someday that will be enough. Thank you for reading. If you're going through something similar, you're not alone. End.